Thanks for tuning into episode 2. Don't forget to download the app, press that, boom, swipe up.
Yeah.
So when you was in America,
The big one.
yeah. With Smith v Canelo, how did you find it?
Result aside, it was great to be over there, great trip. But it was before the fight. I genuinely said it on air, and I genuinely believed that Callum couldn't and would do it. And going over there, and a lot was made of it. The head to head, the size difference was huge, and I knew Canelo has dealt with size before, probably not as big as that. And my thing was thinking, well, you dealt with Kovalev's size, but it was an aging Kovalev who was a great fighter. And I just thought, you're fighting a lad here who's in his peak, undefeated, in a great place. And I just, when you're looking at him, you're thinking, I don't see how you're going to beat him.
Yeah.
As good as you are, I don't see how you're going to beat him. And then obviously being in the corner on the night was it was very different. And listen, I'm never going to make excuses up for Callum, because if it was a few pound heavier, and the result would probably be the same. Although I do think the weight took a slight, but it finally has caught.
Did he damage his arm?
Yes, he did.
What round?
Callum come right. I think it was round 4. I have to watch back. Callum come back. He says, "My arm's killing, And then 2 rounds later, he said, "My arm's gone." He said, "My arm's just completely gone." And one of Callum's best shots is he'll catch with his left, and he'll come back left up, catch and throw. He's very, very good at that. We saw some great knockouts from him. But
so what did that from? Do you think he got hit on it?
That was the aim. That was. They've come out since. And Callum says, when we was in the changing room, do you know what's mad? He said, I was actually reading one of the reviews, and Rocky Fielding says, he was in the Boxing News, Canelo will hit your arms and that, he'll wear your arms out. And he said, as it was happening, it flashed back to reading the Boxing News, thinking, he's doing this to me here. And I was that's it. I was watching him come back, and people would go, that's the perfect shot. You're offering Callum, you're giving him the shot that he wants. So people would say it's risky, but it's also very, very clever.
And the thing is, if Callum says, he hit my arm, and it sounds, I remember when I boxed Leon, shit fight, let's not forget that. But I remember he hit me in the arm, and my arm was dead, and afterwards I said, he hit me in the arm, and it sounded like it was being a real pussy. But I'm like, I thought,
mate.
But when you get hit then, it's gone. And I think Callum, I didn't think it was an impossible task for Callum. Especially when I saw the size.
He gave him a real life chance.
Especially when I saw the size, I thought, he's going to do him here. He's going to do him. And then Callum, the way he was being pushed back, the way he was being manhandled in there. Listen, don't get me wrong, I rate Canelo, and he went up in my estimations, because each time, especially when he came back the second time to box Triple G, I thought he was brilliant. Just slips out the way of the shot. He doesn't even slip, he'll just turn his chin and shot.
That was one of the things. There's not a big target to it anyway, but like everyone goes on about speed, power, his strength.
But he had a
by far his best
just slip.
It's his defense. He
slip,
rides the
roll,
shots.
like a radar.
Yeah.
And so that's that part of him, and his punch repertoire was second to none. What concerned me was the fact that he was able to bully and walk down a naturally bigger man. That concerned me. And there's an elephant in the room that nobody's talking about. But I just think it concerned me. And I'll always have that question mark thinking, wow,
I'm a little bit disappointed in Smith's performance, because I just thought listen, it's a different thing when you're sitting there and coming onto you, and it's a different proposition than sat here talking about it. But I think he was too happy to step backwards too early, and I think once he started stepping off and trying to just catch you with odd jabs.
So I thought Callum was trying to draw him in to get the counter. That's what I thought, but it got to a point where it became a habit of him going back.
And he was almost only throwing at since. Canelo was sort of only throwing a lot of the time when he did back Callum up on the rope. And I think you can look back now and say, Callum took centre of the stage. He did say he was very, very strong physically. But I think what else was very good, what he said himself, Callum, was the jab of Canelo, we'd never have expected, and the brothers said it as well, we would have never expected, looking at those two guys, who was going to win the jabbing contest, who was going to win the battle of the jabs.
And the difference were, I thought Canelo really stuck his jab in, and putting it in like a backhand, really stepping in and banging it, whereas Callum was trying to touch him off.
The thing is, I've seen Canelo in harder fights, and that's why I just think, I think technically he was on point, he was proper on point, but again it baffles me how we had such I've never seen, and even in the John Ryder fight, I've never seen Callum under that much stress, be pushed back. And listen, I think the John Ryder fight was one of those days where God shined on his arse that then he got the fight. But I'd never seen that, and it just Are you alluding to what Tony Bellew was alluding to? Tony Bellew tweeted on that, so don't quote me, and I'm not offending Tony if I get this wrong, but it was along the lines of, this is an unbelievable performance, too unbelievable. He's gone through 8 divisions, how can he be this strong? So let's talk straight. He's alluding back to his failed doping test.
It's always going to be that crowd's always going to be there.
That's
always
going to be a shadow, no matter what he does. And he's saying it's not, he will kind of alluding to this impossible and what's behind it. And ultimately, look, at that level of sport, that much money involved, who does want it? Even if you were, and I'm not saying you were, who wants to catch him?
Yeah, well,
you're generating that much money.
Unfortunately, because of what's happened in the past, once bitten, twice shy.
Yeah, he's always going to be a suspect.
Yeah, so when a performance like that is produced by him, you're going to ask the question. And then anybody that's offended or aghast that I've kind of said I'm surprised. I'm sorry, but it's an elephant in the room. I'm like, wow. But and then again, I'm saying I rate Canelo, but I'm baffled. Now. I'm sorry, I ain't accusing him of nothing, but I'm saying
you shouldn't be embarrassed to ask him though, because what if people are joking, whoever it is, whatever sport it is, boxing, cycling, football, whatever. If they get you into a position where you're embarrassed to say, do you know what? Is that right?
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm with the fight. That's what I'm with the.
They're all clean.
Yeah, what's the Lance Armstrong?
Which one? They're all
I'm with Lance Armstrong. It got to a point where people were scared to accuse him.
And I think that's the problem. You can't be embarrassed where something flags up, whether it's a marathon time or whatever that you do. People have got to ask questions, haven't they?
You use too much more than me, but certainly sort of since I've been boxing, I've been lucky enough to see Mayweather live. Lomachenko, I've been belted by him as well, but seeing him up close yourself. Canelo the other night, and he was right up there. Another great fight, you've seen close up. He was right up there where you think, wow. Do you know, like I said then, everyone goes on about speed power and that, but the defence was unreal, and the way he sort of done it, and it was like, you come away thinking, wow, he's some fighter. But no matter what, there is always going to be that suspicion. Unless he's a freak of nature, you can just do that. And his skill level is unbelievable. Like I say, the way he rides.
That's what I'm saying. If you're cheating, you don't give your skill.
No.
But there's no denying the skill is there, the movement. There's little bits sort of with Callum.
But like you said about Golovkin going through years, Canelo didn't really. I'm not saying we're in a tough fight for him. Canelo's a great fighter, but
he didn't look like a fight for him.
He won comfortably. He won very comfortable.
It seemed as he got into second,
very
third gear,
comfortable.
cruising along.
And when we look at Callum, look at the wins he's had, and you think, wow, this kid's awkward, he's big, he's long, has he done that? And then how he looked,
and he genuinely believed he was going to win.
He looked like a kid being manhandled by his parent. His little parent.
What does he do next, Canelo? What do you want to see him do next?
Well, he didn't commit to anything, but he's basically saying anybody that's out there. And
I'd like to see him against Eubank. I'm putting that out there now. Because Eubank, he doesn't know any better, so he just.
No, that is true, and he'll have that belief.
And stand on his feet, and he'll have it.
It sounds mad, and listen, do I believe?
Look, Clan would still be a great fight. Benavidez would be a great fight, but him and Eubank, I think Eubank could fly at him.
He'd fly at him. I'm almost certain it wouldn't end the way that he thinks it would. He would genuinely believe that. I was going to ask that, and this was a lot of the talk after it. Who do you back against him right up to light heavyweight? I think the name that a lot of people were saying around it was like, they think the only one who can beat him is Bertobiev. Because he's someone who will stand in the pocket with him. I know bombs way and is a huge puncher, but I don't know. He might just end up being too cute for him.
Do you not think Benavidez would have a chance if he was
do you know what? Do you know what?
But he'd have a better chance. But the thing is, if you're in a hard fight, if you're in a hard fight,
if he's on it,
I'm a fan of his, but again,
in a hard fight, you don't live right. When the pressure's on, you think.
I think just seeing close up, and I know you've seen it as well, but I just think he's too cute for Benavidez. I think he takes him apart.
I think he's back apart, and I like
that.
I like skills.
You know what? I think on that performance, I can't see anybody beating him. I cannot see it because he's just brilliant.
Right up to light everywhere.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's brilliant, on that performance. So you just got to give it to him.
Yeah. What about Callum? I think he does next. Move up or?
I think he'll probably. I think he'll move up.
He will move up,
because where else is there for him to go?
Yeah,
he's not the kind of fighter that's happy to play second tier in the division where he can't be champion anymore. So I am assuming he's the kind of guy that still wants to chase glory.
Of course, he's always wanted to be a 2-weight world champion. So I'm pretty sure, and I think he should. We'll see him move up, and there's some huge fights at light heavyweight. There's like I said now, he can't do anything more at that weight.
Even domestically at light heavyweight. There's some good fights.
I know he's still talking about the Billy Joe fight, sort of, for Callum and Billy Joe, but for me now, Callum, you should move up. But even domestically.
A lot will come down to desire and wanting, I think, because he's earned a load of money out of
that's true. You've got to see how you feel.
He made a load of money other night. Does he want to go back to being a contender at light heavyweight? Where his purse is going to drop through the floor from what he's been getting? That'll think after Christmas New Year when he's
no matter what he's saying, he's got when reality starts to say.
No, in games he
still wants to do it. Massively.
So Gennady Golovkin, Triple G against Zaraneta, making his, I think it's 21st defence of the IBF title, setting a new record of defences.
Second longest man.
To do it. I watched it sort of from over there, and I think obviously Eddie back and forth on that and was talking about they wanted to make it a bit of a thing being his 21st defence. It's I think watching the fight, a lot of people that was impressed, and I think he was very impressive in times. Power's still there. Now I'm just not sure whether he can go through the gears like he did. I definitely think he's aging, and we saw it with the 2 Canelo fights. I think he's unlucky not to have come away from one of them with a win. But I think now I'm not going to get onto this. I'd certainly make Canelo a big favourite if they met again. I think, like you say, Golovkin, he still does things very well. The opponent was, he was tailor-made for Golovkin.
But again, like we just said about Pulev,
you can't knock him, mate. He went down in the first, and he kept trying, didn't stop.
And it was his mandatory defence. So it wasn't like it was a given. So I think Triple G just kept himself in the picture. Will it catapult him into his next fight against Canelo? I don't know. I think they've probably got bigger fish to fry. He can shout, and then if he does, I think this time we'd really lose, especially after how Canelo performed.
Would you like to see him win next time?
Who would like to see him going next? Tell you what, my team with Billy Joe. I think it's a good fight for Billy Joe. I think it's a good fight for Billy Joe now. I know where people say, it's a good fight for no one. And like I say, at times you still look great. At times it would be the time and whatever like that. But I don't believe he is the fighter was now. I just think there's a little him being able to sort of go through the gears and work at a pace. I'm not sure. I mean, listen, he looked fantastic. He looked on the scales. He looked the best he's looked. I've never seen forearms like it. Forearms, unbelievable. But
one of the knockdowns were off a jab, weren't it?
Oh my God! What a shot!
We've seen it a bit later.
So that punch power's there. But that fearfulness about him, I think that's gone. Even though he can bang, he's no longer as menacing.
I'm with you there.
And, I suppose at 39-year-old he might set last person.
He looks a bit older as well, doesn't he? Now he looks a little bit older.
You're only saying that because you still look 20. For him, he might say last person adding to Billy Joe. Style-wise,
stylistically,
Billy Joe's in a hooligan club. Because you either beat him and look bad, or lose to him and look bad.
That's it. I think that's me as a fan, and obviously liking Billy. That's the fight. I think it's a great fight for Billy. But if you was advising Triple G, you'd probably be the last person you pick. Being honest. Being honest.
Be interested to see where he does it. But I thought he was good. I thought that kid deserved a pat on the back. Shea with his mandatory challenge. Like Anthony, they were limited. But he showed plenty of balls. He was young in there. Really, I know he got knocked down in first, but then from second, third, he was just taking a bit of
left it all in there.
Like a bit of a beating. Golovkin, maybe he didn't have to shoot through gears.
Maybe possibly,
he was just like, I'm alright here, I'm just going to move it around,
coast,
knock it around and then give it in. Good fight though, I thought he looked good.
Good on fight. For years I got it.
I'm sorry about that.
For years I got it. It makes you thick-skinned, and so you get to a point where you actually don't care what people say, and I think AJ's at that point there. So listen, I think he did. I'm glad he's immersed himself in it, because when he boxes Tyson Fury, he needs to be able to box and fight. And that's why I think
he's going to have to be thick-skinned as well.
What do you think?
What
did you think?
Do you know what?
Some people say they're a bit disappointed. He just seems to have got a strong right.
I'll be honest. Listen, he's shown a fantastic chin at times. As he slowed down a little bit, Pulev did look like that a little bit. But for Joshua, I wasn't really impressed in stages. I mean, like I said, there's still like those, but I think Anthony Joshua's always going to be a little bit vulnerable. I thought, do you know what he did do? What half impressed me the most? He almost emptied the tank. Was it round 3 or round 4 the first knockdown? And I thought, oh, if Pulev finds his feet here, is it going to get tricky for him? But then he got that second win. So the conditioning, I thought, was very good. He throws a lot of shots, doesn't he?
It's that period between getting gassing and getting your second wind.
Yes.
And he gassed early because he caught Pulev. So he was in that dip. And I thought if he gets to round 6, he'll do it.
Yes.
But Pulev
that was a worry, But AJ found his feet again, and I thought there was some positives to take where sort of the lean back right hand and the right uppercut at times was lovely shots. Pulev, like you say, you could say, did you expect more from him? But then at the same time, he took some absolute bombs, was still coming forward, and I just thought, so all in all, it was a good night's work for AJ.
Look, a lot of heavyweights who can fight, they're not going to sit there and take 3 or 4 cuts on a trot.
Exactly. So you can't knock him. At times, he threw a couple of sweeping left hooks, and I mean, they weren't desperate ones. They were sweeping left hooks, and AJ rolled underneath them, and I'm thinking, shit, if you weren't doing what you're doing now, you'd have got teed up because they had pure power. And all week long, Pulev was a cocky, arrogant, confident. Honestly, in the hotel. He was on it, and you didn't sense any fear at all. Now I heard when he boxed Klitschko and lost, he had to have a lot of therapy after it because he really believed that was his destiny, that was his time. So when he came to box AJ, he thought that his time was then because he said he could have boxed AJ 3 years before when he should have boxed, and he had a bad shoulder, but he pulled out, and he's getting paid, and he could have got paid 3 times more than what he's getting now. So I thought you've got a guy that really has come to win.
Good question.
No way. He's still trying now.
A big talking point after what you think to this. Did you see it on my States? A lot of people they tried to draw AJ, didn't they? On. So is it Tyson Fury next? And he won't mention his name, he won't get drawn on it, he won't get said what you're going to do next. What do you think?
I think, with that, I think, with Johnny said there, I think it was a little bit thick skin, like, I'm not bothered what you think. Everyone expects me to say, I want Tyson next. And Tyson smartly went on social media, said, there you have it, he had his chance, to call me out and didn't do it. But at the same time, I think AJ was a bit like, do you know what, if it happens next year, it happens. I have no doubt he wants it. That alone, the money that it'll generate, but I have no doubt he wants it. But I think he was a bit like, no, I'm not going to give you that. All this you've been giving me and stuff like that. So I don't think you can draw too much from that. I think
did he pull some of his spine to do short, like cut him off, didn't he?
So in the whole week,
he didn't do too much media.
He just spoke about the fight, and when asked or pressed about Tyson Fury, he said, "We're not here for that." And even when it came to the public workout, when they give you like the fight like 15 minutes or whatever, he did what Klitschko used to do, control the whole environment. He spent that 15 minutes doing his hands, and then got everybody to get out and do his thing. So in that interview, he is now. I saw him grow up. In that interview, he thought, "You are not pressuring me to say anything." Because what he said was, he said, "Whoever's got the belts, that'll be it." He didn't. So he didn't. It was his chance to mouth off about Tyson Fury, but he said, "Whoever's got the belt, that'll be it." So if it's Tyson Fury, Tyson Fury,
I have to respect that. I mean, listen, I watched the Tyson Fury fight, but I do have to respect that. Does it happen
next?
One year in Eddie's saying they're talking about March. Is it March?
I don't think it'll. Honestly, I'll be really happy to be proved wrong. I want to see it happen next year. Then.
Next year.
I do.
If it doesn't happen next year, will it happen at all?
Yeah, I do because I just think it's becoming too hard for them to fight anybody else. So say in the ideal world, Tyson has to fulfill his promise to fight Deontay Wilder. And Joshua has to make his mandatory challenge against Usyk. Then and they both get through it. Then where do they go?
No, you think
they're not going to have one fight next year. So
there's some great contenders, but not with anything near the interest of them two.
So that's why I think it's going to have one.
Later next year, I think.
Well, they always say that if something's impossible, only thing will make it happen is money, and there's no bigger money fight than that. So we'll see. But no, I thought he boxed well. He did box on outside a little bit much. I think he could have stepped in at other times, but he just did it when he wanted to do it. He didn't get carried away, didn't rush.
He did. I also liked the undercard, Lawrence Crolla. Lawrence Crolla should have boxed for the WBO cruiserweight title. His opponent pulled out. They got someone else to step in second notice. And when I saw him, he can punch. He's a big unit. And I think because Isaac Chamberlain, I rate him cruiserweight.
Yeah.
I rate him, and he boxed Lawrence and lost to Lawrence, and so they've all had to go back and lick the wounds.
Yeah.
And I said, Isaac, wait till he's moved on, because this guy's
Yeah.
too big,
Yeah.
too awkward, punches too hard for you to mess about with him and get in there again with him and lose. I think he looked his punch power is devastating. I think he gets a lot of stick because of his style. His class is boring. I've been in that.
I think that's just he's had some bad nights, hasn't he? When I say bad nights, some really, boring. In fact, the Askin one was a bad one.
Yeah.
He's had a few, but I think he's a problem for absolutely Chamberlain. He's a problem for absolutely anyone in that division, and I also think he's improving massively under Shane McGuigan. I think Shane, he's real, especially with the lead hand. He was great with the lead hand, big sort of towering lad like that. He's a lot more positive, and if we can continue to see that, I think we could just see a total U-turn. He will become a real exciting
boxing fighter. You can see him grabbing a version of world title.
With that, I can see him even if opportunity prevailed itself. I can see him even unifying. I think he just. I stood next to him. I'm thinking, I've either really shrunk, or how the hell you are massive. I think I'm moving to heavyweight.
Other thing with him as well is on that night, because he lost that title fight, his head could have gone and ended up looking at
disciplined.
He disciplined, he still jumped in and did job, didn't he? So all in all, good performance, good night.
But went to the Olympics, and I think he had a very limited amateur career as well, so he's improving massively.
Yeah, good night for him.
So, seen him at the fight, a nice shiny piece of jewellery, a new piece I'm sure from the payday. Spence v Garcia, what did you think?
I think Spence, he showed that he gave his argument to saying why you would create an argument between him and Crawford. I think boxed really well. I think Garcia naturally very strong, but he didn't have the technical repertoire.
Garcia wasn't disappointing, was it?
And that's what I'm saying. So really, I think how Spence handled him showed his superiority and his level as a top tier fighter.
I think I said that I thought Spencer probably went on points, but I put a caveat on it if he's recovered well from that crash, and we don't know how that's affected him. But it seemed as if it had no effect, didn't it? He boxed really well, won by quite a margin. So obviously, launching yourself out of Ferrari at 150 mile an hour is obviously the way to go in terms of training.
Nice, but like I said, seeing him close up there, I always think absolutely huge for the weight, but he still looks in shape. I think he proved that night. I think he is an elite fighter. Like I said, Garcia was good in parts, wasn't there? I thought he was real sort of high skill fight. No, he didn't just turn up. Genuinely believed he was going to win. When you look at Garcia, he only lost to Keith Thurman. I think that's the greatest fight in boxing to be made at the minute. Crawford, Spence, which I'm sure we're going to get on to. What do you think now happens? I think Crawford's mentioned this week about possibly moving on. There's him and Top Rank have been out there.
Well, one of them said the other day, didn't he? I don't know. I think it might have been Spence that sure you were right, and he'd said somebody had asked him, and he'd said, I think it's gone to 70-30 now. So numbers that are banding around in disparity, you just think there's no way.
I think if they're talking like that, they're pricing themselves out. Yeah. They're jobbing themselves out of the job. If it's that ridiculous, if the fight, especially with the big and the money that's surrounding, especially in the States, if the fight is going to make big bucks, it will happen. If the both fighters want it. So I'm quite sure both camps want it, but I think this is down to the fighters.
Well, interestingly, Crawford's talking about leaving Armani publicly. He said he's got to look at what he's going to do next, and is he going to leave?
Who's he been with now? Who's he jumped ship with now?
He's been with Aaron most of the time.
He's been with Aaron most of the time.
But I think Aaron also said himself in Crawford's defence, I won't go bankrupt.
The problem is Aaron's not got any of the big name welterweights for him. Once Pacquiao left and joined PBC, everybody who Crawford could box. He's in a different
country. That's right. So it's like being king of your own island when nobody's there.
He's boxed Khan, he's boxed Kel, he's boxed this one and that one, with names on way down, but he can't.
The big names are
the big names. How would you see that going on if it happened? Would you fancy him?
With Spence and Crawford, I've always said Crawford, and listen, I wouldn't be shocked if it went the other way, but I just believe Crawford, for me, he can do it all. He can box up close, he can box at distance, he can switch. And I do believe what I think he'd do, I think he'd just steal it. Be very true. He wouldn't let strength impose himself on him. And I just think I think it'd be very close, with much in it, but I think Crawford steals it on points.
He's got too much variety. I'm going Crawford.
You're going Crawford as well?
The meetings, you know the meetings when they meet each other
Yeah.
at shows and they start going at each other.
Yeah.
It's comedy gold.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
One of them's usually pissed up, whichever one it is. They're usually
It's
pissed up.
WWE wrestling,
Yeah, it's just crazy. Look, skill-wise, you're going to favour Crawford, but he's massive at weight. He's massive at weight.
Massive.
And has Crawford boxed anybody as big as him? Because look, Crawford's not what you'd call a massive welterweight, is he? In reality, yeah, he's tall, but he's not physically. He's not massive at welterweight. Whereas
it's a case of who makes the weight the best as well. Because, as I said, we mentioned Canelo a few weeks ago. I've never seen him get bullied at the weight, and then halfway through the fight, because I knew he'd outgrown the weight properly. That's when you get weak.
Yeah,
so at Crawford and Spence, whoever makes the weight easiest, we can't take nothing away from the skills. That's what
you certainly think that would be Crawford on the scales for sure, wouldn't you? But I think as big as he is, like I say, there's nothing wrong with Spence's engine, is there? Or ability to take a shot. As we've seen time and time again.
Interesting to see what they do next.
Monday.
Yeah, well, that's the uncertainty, isn't it? History tells us eventually, like you saying about Callum.
Yeah, it will.
History tells us, saying at one point, don't be a longevity at that weight, eventually even outgrow it, aren't they? But be interested to see what Crawford does with Aaron. Be interesting to see what Spencer does next.
Yeah, but for me, that's the number one fight to be made in boxing.
Whoa, you can't go that. That was a bit too factual, that.
Other than the obvious one every week, that's the best fight for me.
Look, it'd be massive, wouldn't it? Yeah, massive. So you're two Crawford. I'll go Spence just to be argumentative, because it suits me. So announced this week, fellas. Well, not this week. Announced a week or so back. Floyd Mayweather come back against kid who lost. That YouTube kid who lost to British YouTube kid. They're going to have a meeting and get together where they're saying tens of millions and what do we think?
So is it help the aged? Is Paul thinking he's an old man, I'll do it? Or is he thinking I'll get 50 million plus if I fight Floyd? So now the fight's going on. I do not knock Floyd at all for taking it because it's just a gym sparring workout for him. I still work out in here with some of the guys, but when you've got someone that don't box, that can't box, excuse my French, it's piss easy. So the money he's making is ridiculous. He's not saying he's a boxer anymore. He's saying I'm making money off the.
So it's an exhibition. Is it seen as an exhibition?
No, that's a fight.
So is it a professional is it a professional fight when they're both get licensed or not?
I think both are licensed still.
Yeah, he is licensed already, isn't he? Yeah. I don't know. You just look and you just think, what fight is going to get? Well, we'll come on to his brother in a minute. But you just think, what's going to get announced next? Because I was arguing with somebody on social media the other day, probably not arguing but debating. They were saying it's a good thing because it trickles down to other levels of sport. But I said it doesn't trickle down to other levels of sport because what happens is you have a former basketball player boxing somebody else from YouTube, a boxer who retired 10 years ago boxing another boxer so the kids who are in development stage and looking to climb up, it doesn't trickle down to them, I don't believe.
Do you know the thing for me, the only sort of good thing that comes out for me is the opportunities on the undercard. If it is boxers, a bit like, I remember Billy Joe boxing on the KSI Logan Paul, well that's it, but when on the Tyson Jones one it wasn't, it was YouTubers and basketballers and stuff. If it's getting fighters work on the undercard, then you know what, I'm a fan of it. And people say more eyes.
So Billy Joe boxed on the card of KSI
Logan Paul.
But the crowd that were there, they didn't even know Billy Joe was.
Which is mental.
You know what I mean? So I understand about that crossover appeal to get one or two people involved.
You can keep a fraction
of the it's a completely different
market.
It's a different level, and they have to have the platform of professional boxing to put it on.
I don't believe any of them kids who follow them YouTubers have suddenly started watching boxing after they've got that KSI fight.
Hey, funny enough, the amount of messages I get from YouTubers asking me for training, because I did something with that Paul Weller. Is it Paul Weller, the YouTuber kid? Weller, he boxed KSI first. Weller, you know
Joe Weller.
Joe Weller, yeah.
Paul Weller,
I was thinking,
and I was trying to talk him into doing it again with KSI. And you could see when we're on camera, he's like thinking, should I go for this? But he said he more or less did his head in that much, he didn't want to put himself there again. But you know the amount of messages I get from YouTubers saying, train me for it. Train me, I'll do it. Train me, I'm like, Jesus Christ. I mean, there's at least 2 weeks,
it's not going anywhere soon. You're not going to see the end of YouTube boxing. So
you're going to wonder what do they move on to next after this?
Yeah.
Whoa, they move on to Conor McGregor.
What's weight difference going to be? What's weight difference going to be between Mayweather?
Well, that's what I'm saying. So I just don't. I think Mayweather said, "Come on, what you want? Cool, don't worry about it." But then the difference is they're going to look for big names, big old time names, or so obviously McGregor's been called out by his brother, and to me I just think, wow, you know, and maybe he's got more chance with McGregor than boxing.
Did you see that video?
Do you know the video?
I would cry, honestly, a tear run down my cheek. It was so cringe. He insults his wife.
Yeah, he insults his wife. Racial slur as well. I just thought, do you know what then that thought? Sometimes, not to promote violence, but sometimes someone just needs a good hiding. Yeah. I thought, no, they do, don't they? You can't carry on like that and just not expect to get a belt eye for it. And, I mean, listen, do you know the only...
He probably will. He'll probably get a clip.
Yeah, and rightfully so to be earned. I think the next day he was throwing toilet roll at someone's head or something. You know,
They were filming.
And McGregor, training partner or something like that, I'm not sure, but it's... I think with that, I mean, again though, then you've got
$50 million offered him.
Yeah, that kind of money, I'm going to turn that down for a fight that I'm going to win. Do you know...
Would you
do you know what, Pulev? $50 million.
Yeah.
For a fraction of that before. So that's what I mean, that's what I want about. Whereas if I'm going to get offered a fight that I'm going to win very easily for get paid fortunes for, even though I'm happily retired, you've got to, like, people say, oh, your morals not like that. It's probably hard. It's probably hard to turn down. Do you know, like the kind of, like say McGregor there, if he gets 50 million for a fight, although he wouldn't win as easy as what Floyd would, it's a fight you'd expect him to win.
Yeah.
And hopefully he'd get his comeuppance for...
You kind of just thought that McGregor would have a flashback to MMA and just pick it up, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Or just sweep him
up, snap his arms and legs or whatever.
Yeah.
But you just think, these companies that are paying for these shows that are like them type of purses, you just... Look, they're getting the advertisement out of it because these kids are pushing it, but 50 million, just not for him, for part, 50 million just for McGregor. And so you'd expect Floyd's probably maybe getting something similar for other fights.
Yeah, so you can't knock Floyd.
Do you know?
You can't knock him for doing it.
Am I right in saying if you apply earlier, you get it a bit discounted?
Yeah. $60.
You can't be a boxing fan though and think, I'm going to buy that. I don't care, as great as Floyd is, like, there's not a chance you can buy that and think, oh, I'm interested in watching this. Yeah. Just go and watch one of Floyd's old fights. And well, the next day when it might...
You watch the replays.
Yeah, watch the replays, the free stuff. But if you pay $60 or more, because the price goes up, to watch Floyd Mayweather versus Logan Paul,
I won't pay a tenner for it.
You're not all there.
You'll pay a tenner for it if you're on, even if you're on UK time. I won't pay a tenner for it.
I'm not enticed in illegal activity, but I'd probably illegally stream it.
I don't know.
I'd like to watch someone else's TV.
I don't even know how you do that.
I put it up in the middle of the night to stream it. That's how.
I'd watch somebody else's TV because I don't do that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I don't even know how you do it.
So Dylan White saying he's not going to wait for Povetkin if Povetkin's still out.
Names are being happened this month, shouldn't it?
Yeah, names are being thrown. That should mean the 30th. Names are being thrown out. Ortiz, Wilder. I think Ruiz's name was thrown in the mix. I understand Dillian's decision not to hang about. You know, he want to write what he thinks is a wrong. But against Ortiz, you know, that's a proper statement.
I have respect him for saying Ortiz because, I mean, we obviously don't know how old Ortiz is, but for me, it's one of the best heavyweights out there. He was boxing the absolute ears off Wilder, wasn't it? Yeah. He's come back since, hasn't he? But there's not many harder fights that Dillian would win, especially coming off the fight that he did.
That nearly happened before, you know. He nearly boxed Ortiz before.
In the final eliminator.
Yeah, and it did happen, but because Wilder went up in my estimations when he boxed Ortiz.
Yeah, massively.
Wow.
Yeah, you took the one.
I said technically Ortiz argues the best, like that old school and, you know, the Cuban background. I think he's a fantastic fighter. The only worry is always the age. Like I said, Wilder didn't lay a glove on him until that huge right hand landed. Yeah, it was a fight he was winning every second of. Yeah. So for Dillian to call him out, he's like, wow, I'm not having a fight to ease my way back into this if you don't get Povetkin.
But then with Povetkin, you know, if he really had COVID and knew he wouldn't be boxing in a jail because it'd take him
probably March time, April time to get himself back to fight championship, fight fit. Because if you have COVID, you can't say, "Nah, I'm off this month, I'll do it next month."
Especially with what was hospitalised with, which they said he was.
Plus, let's be honest as well, look at a different slant, and I'm not saying he hasn't got COVID, but if I were to Povetkin, and you've won that final eliminator, and even if you've signed a rematch clause, you're managing to Tyson Fury, why am I going to go back in with him?
In a fight that I was losing, very
close. So I can rematch him for, let's just make numbers up. I can rematch him for 2 or 3 million.
Yeah.
Or I can box him and maybe get 7 or 8.
Yeah.
What do you want to do?
Yeah, it's true. So it might be some game playing or what.
Yeah.
But
I mean, we don't.
But then the thing is, is Tyson Fury interested in him? No,
if you're mandatory, well, you're going to box with vacant title, aren't you?
But again, like we discussed last time, some fights are bigger than the belt, and AJ and Fury are bigger than the belt.
Well, I think AJ sort of said that, hasn't he, with the WBO, if they're going to say you're going to strip him unless you fight Usyk, and that's going to potentially stop the Fury fight, I'll give the belt up, and that is a fight, that's a perfect example. They could fight with no belts on the line and it'd still be the most watched fight out there.
Yeah. What do you think? You think he could box? Can he generate now, coming off that knockout loss, can he generate enough to pay everybody if he boxes in Britain, or he's not going to get Andy Ruiz over here?
Yeah, I think with Dillian, I think he will still attract that crowd, because when people are in boxing, you watch it because you think that's a good shout, that is. And the way that it'll be built and the way that will be pushed, you'd look at him and you think, you know what, Dillian could get turned over again. So I could tell.
It's real boxing fans fight, isn't it? Because, like you say, it's very ballsy of Dylan to call Ortiz out. But I know what you mean, sort of, to have to put it on box office. How would it appeal then? How would you sell it then? But like John said, it's a fight. It's a fight.
Well, 2 years ago, you'd say Ortiz were red hot favourite. He's a couple of years older, you said, that big stoppage loss. It'd be interesting fight. Interesting to see. So it looks like that Povetkin's not going to be happening in January.
Shame, but I suppose Dylan's more or less moved out to Portugal now. He's just training, is his lifestyle, which to me is a great thing to see, because that's his habit. It's his second nature to train.
Well, look, Ortiz is at that age, you might think another big opportunity if I beat him, it puts me back in trouble. If it happens, pick Anne. If it happened,
I've always been a big Ortiz fan. I do just believe Dillian would catch up with him. I think he'd come from behind, but I think Dillian would catch up with him sort of in the second half of the fight.
John?
Same again. Listen, do not be surprised if Dillian's hurt, wobbled or down. But I think his pace, his youth, his dogged determination will eventually catch up on Ortiz.
Probably at the same age, just because of the age thing. I think they're a little bit younger. A couple of years ago, I'd have definitely gone the other way. Interesting to see what happens. And hopefully, they can announce something soon, because he needs to get out again, doesn't he? Wants to get back to it. So, preview a couple of fights coming up in January, fellas. Avinisi and Kelly. That's just got announced this week, and then there's Garcia Campbell. Big fight. Let's go to Avinisi first. What do you think to that fight? Let's go back a little bit historically. You were all that drama at that show that time when Kelly tried to change rounds, didn't he? And tried to move distance at fight and then walked off from fight, and it didn't happen.
Well, it wasn't Kelly, it was more Adam Booth. And Adam Booth will always do what will favour his fighter, whether it's trying to do your opponent's head in or what. I don't think Adam doubts Kelly's ability, stamina or anything. But I think he's a great game player, and but this is a tough fight for Kelly. But I rate Kelly. I really rate him. I think he wins. I think he'll have to dig in. He shows heart. He shows brilliant boxing ability and speed. Great technician for the experience he's got. I'd lean towards Kelly.
I think, you know what, I think a winner, so I near the time studying more wrong than both. But do you know what, Avinisi's in red hot form. You saw your man from Spain who he beat twice, Kevin Langueros, and then he fought on the match in Spain, who done it inside the ground again. Strong, heavy-handed, relentlessness from him. And Josh Kelly, though, I know Adam is a huge believer in him, his ability. Very, very talented. And Joe Kelly, it's just the skills. He's got skills for this. You only worry about. Remember when he switches off? Yeah, he switches off and he let his opponent back into it. It's just it's so hard to go. Like I say, I do believe Kelly has got lovely, lovely skills. Again, this could come down to as well on the scales. And he's got to do the weight right. If he does do the weight right, then he's got a great chance. But Avanesian he's relentless. He'll be there all night.
So you
can't have an off night. You can't have
a little bit of needle in the camps.
You can't have a 90%.
Yeah, no way.
The downside for Kelly is he's not a boxing fan. Watch it. He's not immersed in it. So at times when you're in a big fight, a tough fight like this, you need to feel totally at home. You can't just step in and step out of boxing. You can't play that game. So Kelly,
we've got to see the best of Josh Kelly.
He's got to be a career.
If he turns up at 80-90%, he's going to have a proper headache.
Good fight.
I'm going to lean Avanesian. I just think he'll be too relentless. If he makes weight right and everything's right, I'm sat on the fence, Kelly. Another big fight in Ansel weight, Garcia Campbell. What do you think?
Mate, do you know what? I've been talking about this a lot. I can't wait for it. I was just saying just the other day, you know what Garcia's got about him? He's got that, I won't say it's arrogance, it's confidence of
ignorance.
Ignorance, that's it. So maybe it's like Luke's gone to the Olympics, won the Olympics. He's only lost at the top level. He avenged one of those losses. Only a loss to Lomachenko. Got himself both well at times after the Mendy fight. So on paper you think, Campbell's much more experienced, but Garcia's thinking, no, I'm just too fast for you. I'm just too strong for you. I'm going to clip you, and that's it. He's done a daft video the other day. I was going to beat out Luke and stuff like that. But it's when I want to fight. Listen, I'm not sitting on the fence because I'm going Campbell points or late stoppage. However, you won't be surprised if he just land that. He just sort of takes chances. He's still a little bit raw, Garcia. Yeah. I know he's moved over to Eddie Reynoso now. He's in the Canelo camp, and he's got a great coach there. And he might look to be a bit more polished, but he takes those chances, and there's no denying he's got that one punch knockout power. And if he lands on Luke, he could put him over. I just believe this is where experience is going to come into play. I think Luke's got the right mindset, very cool, as the name says, cool, and just I don't think he'll let it all get to him, and I think we might see a bit of frustration from Garcia, more and more chances, so possibly a late stoppage or points win. I think Luke takes over in the second half of the fight.
Let's remember how well Luke did against Lomachenko as well. And most, including myself, thought he won't even see the end of the fight. I think he boxed brilliantly and showed he's got a lot more to him. I think against Garcia, I think Luke is surprisingly, for some reason, I think even though he's got more experience, he's going in as the underdog, which baffled me.
Because his Instagram followers, maybe it goes back to what we're saying about YouTubers. Yeah. Garcia's got 5 million followers on Instagram.
So Luke's the kind of kid where he has that arrogance to say, I want it to be all about me. So he will not like that shit. And so again, it's a big shout, confident shout from Garcia's camp to
they're certain they're going to win. Like you're speaking from people over in America.
But do you know what he reminds me of? He reminds me of Daniel out of Karate Kid.
Karate Kid, Daniel Russo, yes, it's a shout.
He reminds me of that Karate Kid. When he was talking after us last night, I thought, he's just so ignorant or naive. But you like that raw naivety about youngsters.
Well, a lot of people have been talking about Garcia for a long time, haven't they? That he's this and that. And it's like, this is the fight where you find out.
Can he fight?
Is it all talk? Not all talk, because he gets
Is it bullshit build-up?
Is it all like I can bullshit, or can this kid do it? And if he does do it against Luke,
he's for real.
This is now the fight. So he's now at the junction, and we're going to go left or right.
Obviously, I was over there, and he's in the Reynoso camp. They're convinced. They don't see any other outcome than them walking right through Luke, and you're thinking, have you come to that conclusion? But that's how they feel. But I'm going Luke points or late stoppage.
I'm going Luke late stoppage.
I'll be patriotic. I'm going to go Luke. I am part Mexican, but I'm going to Luke.
Yeah.
So this week, lads, we've not really got a dweeb of the week this week because not that much good's happened. But Johnny, so this isn't a dweeb of the week, but this is something me and I've got to bring up to you. This is a court of law what you're citing now. Did you or did you not say Tennyson would blow Gervonta Davis away? I don't want an explanation. Yes or no that you're on the stand. Did you or did you not say?
Let's just listen
Johnny,
to
you're not listening to the judge.
It's not
yes or no.
I said if he lands with those shots, he will knock him out.
if he lands with those shots.
That's sunshine.
Yeah, because I thought he's got world-class power. But, has he got world-class skill? Has he got Gervonta Davis skill? But if he lands with that kind of power, he knocks him out. And basically, that's what I was saying, or that's what I was trying to say, is that if he lands on Davis and knock him out,
is he
and he was like,
and is he waffling?
He's a waffle.
You're waffling a bit. What do you think?
Do you know what?
Not looking at a great result for Tennessee,
it was,
a great
but I think
performance.
You got to remember, and I think I've said it to you, Tennyson's a different animal since moving up in weight. However, it was a very nice opponent for an eliminator.
Yeah, of course.
They found a very nice opponent for that. It's, I think he'd been one of the biggest punchers in the lightweight division, and I'm certainly rooting for James, but I think the biggest puncher in the lightweight division is the man you're saying that he's going to knock out.
Fair dues.
If you could go back, would you still say it?
Yeah.
Right, that's good enough. Fair play. You're standing on there. Stood like
oh my God. I've just said to him, but he's saying it punches because if he bounces him and puts him down, I say, there you go!
That's going to look like the best thing Tennyson does do, and that's going to be brilliant.
Oh, yeah,
and just I really do
I'll be down if he does.
Yeah.
It's never a last to it. So lads, as we roll into 2021, which will hopefully be somewhat better than 2020's been for everybody. Let's go around. Favourite fighter of 2020 and favourite knockout of 2020. And
fighter or performance?
I think favourite boxer, best boxer of 2020.
Fight of the year type.
Fight of the year.
Yeah. Okay, I've got mine. I think I'm going to go with the Ringwell. I know they shared it. I think it's got to go to Teofimo Lopez. I think massive win coming there. He's talked the talk for a long time. He's sort of chased Lomachenko, and he delivered on the night. Listen, I thought the scorecards was way out, but I thought it was a fight he deserved to win. See him over there, and absolute huge lightweight. How he's ever made that 9-9 limit, I would never ever know.
How many fights said that? 25.
He looked in shape. I don't mean like he was chubby. He was in shape.
How many fights said that? Like 25.
I don't know. Do you know what? I'm not sure. He's not had many, but the confidence he has, and I think, like you say, we spoke about this fight before, but I thought he won well. He didn't fall for the feints. He was almost a bit Garcia-like, where, as we were saying, he was like, there's no way I lose this fight. And like I say, he's talked it, but he walked it that night against Lomachenko. So for me, for someone who he had as one of, if not the very best fighter in the sport, best on the planet, to beat him, I think you've got to give it him.
Even though I've kind of questioned his win, I'd say Canelo. I think Canelo boxed. The technical ability he showed was supreme. Like, he's always impressed me technically how he's fought, the way he slips shots, rolls shots, the calm. About the pressure he puts on the opponent, and I think he did a good shot with a cracking job with Callum. Even though there's questions there, but I think performance-wise, I just love the technique.
I've probably got to say, I think and you've got to say really all kids like Lopez, all kids who've had big performances this year, you've got to kind of take your hat off them because everyone's had a long way off. Then they've gone into like these bubbles, then boxing more crowds, so everybody's had to overcome it. But I'd go with Canelo. I think to have that layoff, come in and supposedly box number one at the weight and just totally dominate. Probably give an honorary mention to as well. I think Errol Spence coming back from that car crash and then being pretty dominant against Garcia. So let's spice it up again. Favourite knockout of the year? Do not say Tennyson. Do not say Tennyson.
Who's going first?
Oh, damn it! The story's thunder, man!
I might steal your KO of the year as well now, Johnny. I think there's a few that you could mention, but I think the one for me, KO of the year, Gervonta Davis.
Oh, man.
It was, you watch it back now, and Cruz was having great success in the fight, but for me it was almost like that round he decided, I'm going to walk you down now, I'm going to knock you out.
Walk away before you meet him.
Yes.
Boom.
Yeah, it was an unbelievable. I know he's a southpaw. He'd actually switched over to orthodox, hadn't he? And the left up with the ferocious, how ferocious, the timing, the speed, the power, ferocity of the shot was just like wow. And thankfully Santa Cruz was okay, but it was a little bit worrying for a little bit. How he went down. Just the ferocity of it was just like wow. Gervonta Davis.
I would have said the same. But you stole me thunder. So I'd say Crawford. Crawford's knockout of Canelo. He knocked out Canelo with his own shot. Switch southpaw, and for a kid from this gen to be conned by that switch without even realising it. I thought Crawford did it with ease. He kind of knocked him out with a jab. And it was so fast. You had to watch it 3 or 4 times to think, what? And the power, the calm, and the patience, because Cal's not doing bad for the first couple of rounds. I just think great knockout.
I'm going to go Povetkin White, just as an overall for the drama, the turnaround, the unexpected.
Technique of the shot.
Like, we unexpected, he tried it.
We looked for it throughout the fight, didn't we?
I mean, that was just a great knockout, and it totally turned the fight on his head. Full of drama, so that was mine. So no doubt see more next year. Hopefully we'll get.
It's not a bad free.
We'll get back in next year.
Yeah.